I said, 70% of the critical reasoning questions are assumption questions. There are three main subtypes: weaken questions, strengthen questions, and assumption questions. Now, assumption questions look at a premise, what went before the conclusion. This is in contrast to the inference question, where they're asking you, okay, you've got the premises, what follows from those premises? Here we're asking what would be something that would relate to the underpinnings of the argument. So the assumption question would ask you, what's an additional premise? What's an additional underpinning for the argument? The weaken question would ask you, what attacks the underpinnings for the argument? A strengthen question would say, let's look at the underpinnings for the argument and add a further support for the argument. Typically, in assumption questions, you will see a variety of tempting wrong answer choices. You'll see, whenever you see a weaken question is asking you which of the answer choices would most weaken the answer. One of the wrong answer choices, at least one, will be something that actually strengthens the argument. And that's taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people under test conditions are reading a little too quickly and miss the fact that the question is a weakened question and say, well, that looks like a convincing argument, even though it's exactly opposed to the argument that they're looking for. Similarly, with strengthened questions, at least one, typically two of the answer choices will be weakened questions. So weaken answers. So it's an example of how important it is to look at the questions and identify what type they are before you read the argument. So let's have a look at a few examples. Okay, so here we have this question about the Save-A-Tot Corporation, and we see in the question 10, which we're obviously going to read first, which of the following, if true, represents the strongest challenge to Save-A-Tot's claim? Okay, so when you see strongest challenge, you know that this is a weakened question. And I'll go ahead and open a poll and let you see what you think the answer might be, bearing in mind that we're looking for something which weakens Save-A-Tot's claim. I think based on what I've seen, we found this a little bit difficult. The correct answer choice is A, and I can absolutely guarantee you that once you've understood the strategy that I'm going to recommend to you as to how you resolve these types of problems, that this one, if we revisit it, will seem like a very, very easy question. With weakened questions that have to do with plans or claims, predictions, what we're looking for is an answer that undermines the prediction. Save-A-Tot's claim is that the usage of the seats will decrease child mortality rates. So we look for an answer choice which says, no, they won't. It won't reduce the child mortality rates by 60%. It won't have any effect whatsoever on child mortality rates. And the best answer is answer choice A. If the plastic compound turns brittle when it's exposed to cold temperatures over a relatively short period of time. So clearly, if you have to leave it out in your car or put it on your bicycle, or even if you bring it indoors at night, then it's not going to be a very useful product. D is also a tempting answer, although it's not as good because it also exposes a flaw in the plan or a flaw in the prediction. They add too much weight to bicycles, so we'll see we won't see the decreased child mortality rates because people will still be won't be able to use them on bicycles. So the correct answer is answer A. But don't worry about that too much, because once you have the strategy for attacking these problems, I have to say I guarantee that you wouldn't have found that one daunting. Okay, let's look at question number 30, which is a strengthened question. Another one of the types of assumption questions that we're going to be focusing on. And we'll just have a look